This young lady competed against and beat the boys in a high school state qualifying tournament, but then after play was told she can't win because she's a girl.
I do hope that they kind of look into the rules a little bit more, and then maybe in the future the winner of the tournament will be based off of skill and not gender.
Emily Nash joins us to talk about that day and the reactions that followed. Plus, which Justin has the most momentum right now, Rose or Thomas, after great wins from both over the last few weeks? That and much more on the way. You are on the tee with Golf Central.
Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Another big week in the world of golf. Only 2 events remain on the European Tour's Race to Dubai schedule. This week, the tour is in South Africa for the Nedbank Golf Challenge. Tommy Fleetwood in the field. He leads in the Race to Dubai standings and has an opportunity to pad his lead over second-place Justin Rose, who is not playing this week. Only 2 events remain on the LPGA Tour as well. The ladies in China for the Blue Bay LPGA. New number 1 Sung Hyun Park in the field as she chases the Player of the Year award. And the PGA Tour Champions season wrapping up this weekend. The Charles Schwab Cup Championship taking place in Arizona with Bernhard Langer looking to win the Charles Schwab Cup for the 5th time and 4th in a row. Hi there, thanks for joining us here on this edition of Golf Central. I'm Todd Lewis. The PGA Tour also in action this week. Some of the best players in the world are in Mexico for the 11th edition of the OHL Classic at Mayakoba. The defending champion is a veteran who's already won this season. Our George Savaricas, he joins us live from Mexico with more on that defending champion whose game is sharp and his sense of humor is always sharp. George?
Yeah, Todd, you definitely got that right. Pat Perez has had a great start to the season so far in this 2017-18 campaign. If you go back a year ago, October 2016, Pat was coming off a shoulder injury, had no idea what the future would hold or where his game was at. He had a 15-start medical exemption he was trying to make the most of. Go forward 12-plus months. He has 2 wins in that span, all the way up to 18th in the world. Perez talked about what a wild journey has been to get to this point where he's getting ready to defend his title.
I can't believe what's transpired in 12 months. I would have never dreamed of coming back in last year. I would have never thought that 12 months was going to happen. I was just hoping to, not get hurt again and hopefully get my card back and that kind of stuff. And here I am, I've won twice, and now I got to 18 in the world. I can't believe it. I won 3 weeks ago, and it was kind of the same time as now. And my goal was to get the Tour Championship again. And like I said, though, I'd love to be, contender in some big tournaments. And I'm not going to put any pressure on myself. I'm just going to play and kind of do what I do and see what happens.
And Perez talked about how his big goal this season is to play well in majors. He's a PGA Tour veteran. Let's go to the other end of the scale. We have a guy making his PGA Tour professional debut in Cameron Champ. You remember that name. Champ wowed the fields in the U.S. Open at Erin Hills with his prodigious length off the tee, averaged more than 330 yards. We're going to have more on just how impressive he is off the tee in just a bit. Now he's getting ready to make the next step in his career as he starts his professional journey.
It's huge, it's a big step for me. Obviously just getting here for one, it was a lot of hard work and sacrifice just to get here, so obviously I'm very grateful for that. But I mean, to make my pro debut in Mexico and at this course in Mayakoba is pretty awesome. Just to get in the flow of things, just learn myself, learn my routine. I think that's key. I think playing safe way was just a little uncomfortable. I think just played way too much, practiced a little way too much. So I think just finding my groove and what suits me best with how many rounds I play, what time I got to the course, what time I practice, I think would have helped me succeed in the end.
Champ was saying this week he expects to hit a lot of 2-irons off the tee, not exactly as much open space as the U.S. Open at Erin Hills. As far as the next steps for him going forward, unless he has a magical week here, the OHL Classic at Mayakoba, he's getting ready for the final stage of Web.com Tour Q School in December. But Todd, as you know, it only takes 1 week to completely change your plans.
Yeah, 1 week can change a lot of lives out there. George Savaricas again from the OHL Classic at Mayakoba, and we bring in Trip Eisenhower to talk about this young man, Cam Champ. Aaron Hills was a big golf course. It wasn't that big to him. I mean,
Nope.
This Texas A&M Mackey can hit it a long ways. What's so impressive about it?
A lot of things about his golf swing. He does not look like he's swinging hard at it, and he hits it prodigious lengths off the tee of like a few college coaches have ever seen, and he's very straight. Let's compare him. You know, he was just off finishing his low amateur. That went to Scotty Scheffler. He was just one shot behind that. But look what he did off the tee compared to the winner, the champ. We all know about Brooks Koepka's length. Look at that, averaging quite a bit longer off the tee. And look at some of his longest drives. I mean, they're all right there around 370 now. Brooks Koepka had one 379. That was on the last hole. He's been working with Sean Foley for about 8 years now. And you know what Sean told me? He said he's a great kid. He's real low key. There's not a lot of swing thoughts. He's real easy to teach. But there you can see that club head is going around 130 miles an hour, and the ball speeds are 198. If this kid gets good with the wedges, which is what they're working on, watch out. Funny story, Todd. He was playing with Jamie Sedlowski at Safeway, okay? And they were both around the, I mean, he was around the cut line on the 17th hole. It's a 370-yard hole. There was a ball up by the green in the bunker, and there was one in the fairway. Jamie Sedlowski had walked up to the one in the bunker. Of course, he's a former world long drive champ. Well, he had to turn around and go back. He walked back past Cameron. He said, you know what? That doesn't happen to me often. And Cameron said, you know, it doesn't happen to me either. So that'll tell you how far this young man can hit it.
Got a good frame on him. Kind of looks like Dustin Johnson as far as height goes. He's going to put some muscle on because he's still young in his early 20s.
Yeah.
Look out for this young guy, Cam Champ. But you drive for show, you putt for dough. A lot of pros that have won on the PGA Tour in the field, like Ricky Fowler. He goes off early on Thursday, playing alongside Emiliano Grillo and Chesson Hadley, who's been playing well as of late. Patrick Reed will play alongside Kevin Chaplin and Johnny Vegas. In the afternoon, Zach Johnson with Brian DeChambeau and the Players champ, Bryson DeChambeau, and Siwoo Kim, and Pat Perez. There you see him with Charlie Hoffman and Graham McDowell and a threesome of veterans. Henrik Stenson, he is skipping this week's NetBank Golf Challenge on the European Tour because of a rib injury. Now, there was some speculation that Stenson injured his rib while flying in the air during this promotional shoot for the WGC HSBC Champions last month. Well, Henrik on Instagram had this to say: "At this point, I am back home in Orlando waiting to do a scan on my ribs and get the necessary rest. I am still hoping for a quick recovery and have not ruled out playing in Dubai next week at this point." My comment about not being Superman was a sarcastic way of saying that I am susceptible to injury like any other athlete, and sometimes these things happen when you least expect them. I was pleased to help promote the HSBC Champions and to continue my string of success at the event, and I was never forced to do anything. HSBC is a great sponsor to golf worldwide, and I am not happy to see them being made responsible for my withdrawal. Coming up, we go one-on-one with a young lady who won a state qualifying high school boys event, but was then told she didn't win because she's a girl. What were her emotions after hearing that news? Plus, who you got as we move into 2018, Justin Rose or Justin Thomas? They both have been red hot lately. Our analysts debate just in a moment.
Golf Central is brought to you by the Volke Design SM6 wedges, progressive design, precision performance. Grip Confidence, Grip Golf Pride.